Right, well, I am now calling my special guest. Hello.
Hi, Ruma. Hi, can you hear me okay?
Hi, Alan. How are you doing? It's Ruma. Can you hear me, Alan?
Yes, I can hear you fine, thank you.
Lovely.
Great to be with you.
It's great. Now, what I'd like to do is just pick up from the fact that you went on holiday back in 1984. You went on holiday to Spain, looking for some adventure. You thought you were getting sand, sea in Spain. Instead, you got jail. Now,
Yeah.
tell us how that came about. Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, well, basically I'd arrived in Spain, I got a bit fed up. I was running clubs and things like that in Glasgow. Sort of all these sort of famous nightclubs in Glasgow. We were sort of doing club nights in Glasgow, Dundee, Edinburgh. And I was only early 20s, and it's sort of like, made plenty of money, but seeing all these people coming into the clubs and talking about, going to Spain and Marbella and Costa del Crime and all that, and it was obviously raining in Glasgow and I fancied a bit of a change.
Yeah, sure.
So I went over to Spain. At that point, obviously, the early 80s, Spain was quite well known for some of the dodgy characters knocking about.
Yeah.
And not because of who I was particularly a big guy, but obviously the guys in Glasgow knew me from working on the door and running the clubs, the sort of key players, and they introduced me to their friends. You get invited to parties, you meet people and things like that, and things just gradually escalated, you know what I mean? And I was running a couple of bars and things like that. And then one day I just found myself in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that ended up, with me being accused of drug trafficking and receiving a 6.5 year sentence and a 65 million fine.
Oh, wow. So let's just go back. You were with a group of friends and you decided to do something naughty and you got caught.
That's about the size of it, yeah. And it was quite a scandal because at that point Murcia in Spain, they had the experience then like that. Murcia wasn't sort of it's quite a touristy place now. You've got Manga Golf and you've got Marvin Golf and places like that. But Murcia wasn't considered like, a drugs hotspot at that point. No, everything was concentrated on the Costa del Sol.
Okay, so let's just go forward. The fact that you ended up in jail. And you were in a Murcian jail.
Yeah, I was in Sangonera La Verde in Murcia for most of my sentence. Well, 2/3 of it or something like that, yeah.
Okay, so tell us, what was it like being in a Murcian jail during the time of Franco as well?
It was pretty brutal. When you see things on the documentaries on the television and things like that, there's one on BBC at the moment about Barlini, which is notorious around Glasgow, and I'm looking at that and they've got PlayStations and kettles and microwaves and all that in themselves. You didn't have running water.
Oh my God.
Things like that, the food was ridiculous, health and hygiene standards were terrible. And to add on to that, at that point in Europe, the whole AIDS thing had just taken place.
Yeah.
And there was a really high incidence of it in the jails because of all the intravenous drug users. People just dying everywhere. So it was really brutal. Plus, the fact that most of the people there had Franco had just sort of come out, just been taken out of power, and it was the generals and stuff like that. Juan Carlos I had just come in. So all the people that were working there had been used to doing what they wanted, and then, if you got a slapper, worse than that was people disappearing, seriously.
Wow.
Nothing was said about it. So they had 30 years of doing that. And what I didn't realise at the time was the likes of the staff that were helping us, the social workers, psychiatrists and that, the guys that would come out of university, they want to rehabilitate people instead of punish them. They're putting their whole careers and things like that in jeopardy by doing that, and didn't really appreciate how much people had put themselves out. Like Pepe Moreno, the guy that came in and did recorded one of our songs live in the prison, he was offered a lot of money to bring his recording studio in and do the whole thing properly instead of us going out, because that was causing a lot of problems, because the authorities liked the publicity, but then they found out that we won that competition and the prize was to go and record in a recording studio.
Okay, let's go back to how you won the prize in the recording studio. Let's just go back to that and how you started the band as well, how all of that came about.
Yeah, basically for the first, it was very lucky because, like, I mean, I might not be here to tell the tale had it not happened, because, like, I wasn't conforming, I wasn't being a nice guy, I just basically didn't think I should be there, I had a chip on my shoulder. Like most 20-year-old Glaswegians, you know what I mean? I shouldn't be here and everything else, so I wasn't being very nice and very cooperative. And basically what happened about two and a half years into my sentence, there was a guy, Juanjo Gomez Ayala, who was like a very famous Spanish jazz guitar player. He was a session musician, he's played in the States and things like that. He'd come into the prison with the idea of doing like a guitar workshop. And basically he'd seen myself, somebody had said, look, we go in there and you can have a shot on the guitar and all that, and it was the first thing I'd ever actually participated in willingly. And he thought I sounded good. He'd heard that there was a guy in the kitchen that could also play guitar, put the two of us together.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you know, there was somebody up there looking after me, because there was a sort of national music competition going on, a kind of battle of the bands kind of thing. It's a forerunner to, nowadays it would be the X Factor or Britain's Got Talent. And like all the regional radio stations would have like their own regional heats, and you know, the best band in, you know, whatever town, then the best band in the area, and it gradually, you know, you'd progress.
Sure.
So we'd, you know, won ourselves a trip to Pepe Moreno's recording studio. Pepe's still going just now, PM Studios, it's in Murcia. He's still going, and he's been doing that for 30 years.
Wow.
Some of Spain's biggest bands have passed through him, he's still there.
Yeah. So did, Alan, can I just ask, did somebody submit a tape of yours?
Basically, what happened was, the music monitors and the staff, like Paco Geronimo and Carlos Negro, were submitting cassettes to anybody who would listen. And basically, Angel Sopena, who works for another station, he'd seen the stuff, but he was a sort of like fledgling reporter on that as well, and he'd got permission to come in and see us and things like that on various occasions. He was plugging it, and then the tape was getting on like national radio and various radio stations. It was a sort of crazy time. I was just explaining to someone earlier on this morning that our first appearance was to do 3 songs, like 2 cover versions and a song I wrote myself, and it was in the women's part of the prison. And the crazy thing was, we'd never had drums or anything like that before. It was just the 2 of us with guitars. We suddenly got given guitars, we got drums, and I was in with a guy, he was like the French, his dad, his uncle, sorry, was the guy that's in the French Connection film, the Marseille Mafia, and his driver supposedly played drums. So we'd taken him along, but then we found out he couldn't play the drums, he just wanted to go and see the women in the women's prison. So somebody else stepped in, one of the guards or, you know, one of the social workers stepped in and played the drums. So we've done 3 songs. We were used to having people taking videos, because video cameras had just come along then, you know what I mean, the portable video cameras. So you can take things to sports events and all that, you know, and things like that. So it wasn't unusual. But we found out the next day that was actually a show, I think it's still going, called Chicalandia, a kiddies show on the like Spanish national TV. It was like the equivalent of Ant and Dec or something like that nowadays. And our 3 songs went out live on the TV, and that was picked up like on the tea time news on, like, you know, the local sort of Murcia news, and by 10 o'clock that night it's on, like, you know, Channel 1 in Spain, you know, the national Tele España. And the following week, within a week, we got taken out to do 2 songs in this open prison bit because they brought a couple of like recording vans in. They were allowed in from 2 radio stations, and we played 2 songs live within a week of our first concert on like 2 radio stations. And then the following Saturday, so it's not even a fortnight in between, we played 3 songs live on the Top 40 show. I mean, we didn't even have a song out, you know what I mean? But, you know, I don't know how they did it because I never heard it, you know, I mean, I was playing, obviously, it was live. You know, here we are at number 10, we'll just stop the chat show for 15 minutes and go live to Mercy at Prison. Well, these guys play you 3 songs.
That's incredible. I mean, like, you were in prison and your songs are being played all over Spain.
Yeah. All over the place. We were in all the papers and things like that. We were on the telly and stuff like that.
And they called you Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah, and that was on the front pages of quite a few newspapers at the time. You can still see them, they're out there if you look hard enough. Yeah. And that all came then when we've recorded the songs in the recording studio. What happened then is they did like, there's still people playing it now. It was like the yearly thing, like a year of rock, you know, in Spain kind of album. Back then it was cassettes. So there's a double album of all the best rock music in Spain comes out, and we're song 1, side 1. Our song. And that was supported. That was like by the National Savings Bank paid for that, and like the government and all that, you know, for promoting it, and they would go on the cassettes, and that was going about everywhere. Now, see the bands that are on that with us, a lot of them are still going, and they are like Spain's biggest bands. Okay, so did you get paid for this? Not a cent. I've never had a cent yet, which is why I'm sitting in Barhead now and not flying out to meet you in person, which I wish I was. We'll get that sorted for the next interview. Yeah, no, absolutely. So the music, so you were getting a lot of exposure. You were on radio, you were on TV, and people were picking up your music, and guys were just going great guns. Jailhouse Rock, what a story. These guys in prison. You didn't earn a penny, but you were earning. Obviously, somebody was earning out of this. Well, this is where it gets a bit funny, because with the attention and all that, we were a bit sort of, well, me probably, I was probably causing a lot of problems, because I remember I met with all the guards in that last year, and they were telling me all the things I'd forgotten about, you know. Like the day we got out to do the recording studio, I'll not let them take my fingerprints. And why not? You know, and I spoke fluent Spanish then, you know what I mean? And I'm saying I can't go out. Now, I didn't think about I'm stopping everybody else, you know, and I've just got this chip on my shoulder, you know, take my fingerprints because I'm playing guitar. And I'm hearing the conversation with the guards are not letting me move, and the director's on the other end of the phone telling the guards in no uncertain terms that they better let me effing out, you know what I mean, lose their jobs. So you can imagine I got quite a welcome when I come back, you know what I mean? You know, I was black and blue when I come back, you know, they get their own back later on. Wow. I never thought of these things, I was just young and dumb, you know what I mean? Yeah. And beatings was just normal, being beaten up. I mean, it wasn't just me, you know, I mean, that was just, you know, if you went to court and you were black and blue, you actually got a bigger sentence because the judge thought you must have done something to deserve it. Oh yeah, Spanish law, or any law, let's say. So it was a wee bit tricky. Yeah. Then what happened when things like I didn't make it easy for myself, I forgot about this. There was stuff like we were getting asked, Juanco, the music monitor, he was very in with all the Spanish musicians, and he got things asked to do. So I was asked to write songs for a well-known Spanish band, and you know, they wanted me to sign that over to them, and I wouldn't do it. And you know, there was all sorts of other things going on at the time. I mean, this is not a conspiracy theory or anything like that by me, but when I met up with all the workers and things like that last year, I had a bag of paperwork that was sitting in a drawer of my mum's for 30 years, and they're looking through it, and there's things that were done, deals that, you know, I mean, I hadn't earned a day's redemption or anything like that. And what happened was they promised me I would go to the open prison if I accepted my sentence because I was holding everybody else back. They were in their own prison.
Yeah.
So I'd agreed I would accept my sentence and I would automatically get 3rd grade.
Yeah.
This is all documented. And 2 months before we're going to the recording session, my papers come back down to Madrid, and I'm not getting it because there's a war in between, like, the director and the assistant director, and one of them was old school and he didn't think I should go out, so my papers have just been knocked back. So I went on strike, and there's 2 months where we didn't do any concerts.
Oh wow. Yeah, that was like.
And then I've got paperwork, which I hadn't even realised because I never looked at it, where they have turned around and said to me, basically, we will knock 2 years off your sentence if you go and play, and we'll give you 3rd grade, and we'll take all these sanctions off you, because I've got these sanctions in this book, which aren't for, being cheeky to the guards or something like that. These are serious things. They have wiped the slate clean if I go out and do the recording session. Which, obviously, that was great at the time, but a few months after that, they got their own back. Because I suddenly found myself, right after we got the recording session, we're on the cassette, I've suddenly found myself getting moved to Carabanchel, which is maximum security.
Yeah, and this is a prison. Yeah, exactly. This is a prison in Madrid, and it is one, and it is. Go on.
Amnesty International did a thing called the Helsinki Report, which was Spain was trying to get into the common market at this point, and they had to put a lot of things in order. So Amnesty International was going round the place, and it said that Carabanchel prison was the most dangerous place in Europe.
This is where they held Pablo Escobar as well, wasn't it?
It was his brother, I think, and all that gang. If anyone watched the TV series
Narcos, yeah.
That's where what happened was the Medellin cartel had only been working within America, because why would they go to Europe when America's a flight north? But their guys get imprisoned in Spain. It was a big scandal because the Spanish Prime Minister at the time was involved and things like that. He was flying Escobar's guys around the world in the Spanish, the equivalent of Air Force One. So that was high profile. And those guys got held in Madrid in the late 80s, early 90s. And they met up with the Galicians, pirates, who didn't like, Galicia has wanted independence from Spain for centuries, and they were notorious pirates. So you've got all these drug dealers that can't get their product into Europe. You've got all these Galician smugglers that have been smuggling things, from booze to whatever, the slaves or whatever, for centuries. They meet up in Madrid, and that's how the Colombian cartels first came into Madrid. That's the background to Narcos. And the early story of Narcos takes place at Carabanchel prison,
where you were.
So series as well. I don't know if it's in English as well, but Farina, I think, as well.
Yeah.
It's also based at that time. There's a big thing. I think I sent you the link to it, and it's like from El País or something like that, Spanish national newspaper, and they're doing, how that all took place in Carabanchel prison, and that went on. That was just brutal. There's even a book about Carabanchel by a guy, Christopher Chance.
Yeah.
Now, he's writing it about 5-10 years after I left, and after they done it up and, brought a bit of civilization in, and his story's horrendous.
Yeah.
That's 10 years after.
I know.
After going through all the improvements, so you can imagine what it was like before.
Absolutely. Brutal, absolutely brutal. So, how long were you in Carabanchel prison?
That was less than a year.
Okay, and then what happened? Were you transferred, or were you?
Then they eventually, right towards the last couple of months of my sentence, I got out on St Patrick's Day, and to make it even worse for me, for the last few months in the middle of winter, they sent me to Santander, El Dueso, which is a Napoleonic fort. You couldn't get any more north in Spain. It's right on the peninsula. They've only got walls on one side because it's built on a cliff. Right? Imagine that the walls are like old stone, they're about 10 feet thick. It's damp, it's cold, it's freezing, and that's where I ended up for the last couple of months. And at that point, not happy enough to have annoyed me that much. I'm supposed to be going out and playing in bands and things like that. We've agreed that. With 2 weeks or something like to go, I get told that the Minister for Spain's Internal Security, the head of MI5, or what that in Spain, it's documented, you can look on the website, had said that I am considered a threat to Spain's international relationships with other friendly countries, a grievous threat to Spain's a clearly present danger and all that, I'm going to cause all sorts of havoc. He's written to the Chief Justices in Madrid that I'd be deported on those reasons. So, not only did I get the extra night at the end, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Which wasn't on my original sentence.
So, when...
I'm only 28 years old.
So they extradited you to... Did they send you to a prison in the UK, or were you just free?
The crazy thing was, I get my papers in Santander. They're giving me a train ticket. I don't even have a passport. I've spent 72 hours getting down to Malaga because my mum's booked a flight from Malaga to Glasgow. I get there after travelling all that while. A few incidents will go into another day. I get to Malaga Airport. I've had 3 trains, a couple of buses and all that. I get there, present, all I've got is a photocopy of my extradition to show to the flight. I've not got a passport or anything like that. I show that, and the next thing I know, I'm in a room with half a dozen guys with machine guns and all that. I've missed my first flight. They've taken everything that I had off me, more or less, and then they've frog marched me onto the plane, which is the next available flight. And they've held back the plane, so I'm going on sideways up the stairs with, armed and shackled with 2 guys, with the other guys. They've got the pilot out to sign that I'm getting on the plane, and he's got to sign that I got off the plane. The whole plane is just sitting there going, what the hell is going on here? They're all going, wait a minute, we're supposed to be leaving half an hour ago or whatever. I sit down, I've not got a cent to my name. And the way the hostess, I'm in the front 3 rows myself, and she's like, you want a coffee or that? I went, look, I'd love one. It's been a bit of a hard morning. She's burst out laughing. And I'm like, I've not even got a cent to pay for a coffee. She's like, you're on British Airways, pal. It's free. And I'm like, well, give me a large jack and keep them free. See, the crazy thing is, I'll stick up for British Airways. Do you know my flight I landed in Glasgow earlier than the flight I was meant to be on? So they must have better routes or something like that, because I arrived and my mum and dad didn't even know I'd been held up.
They got lost.
I arrived in Glasgow thinking I'm going to get stopped for hours and strip search and that, and just waved me through. Because they must have thought nobody's that stupid to be carrying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Waved me through, and the first thing I seen was my little sister, who's just got a 6-month-old baby, my nephew, and she's handed me through. I'm like going, welcome to Glasgow kind of thing, and I'm like, what?
Oh, wow. Okay, let's go forward. Let's go fast forward, because in between, okay, let's go back, sorry. In between the time that you got back into Spain and last year, did you still continue on with your music career? Were you playing in bands? Were you playing in...
I hadn't really done anything at all. I took up a career in advertising. My sister had various problems, and I ended up bringing my nephew up. He's now 30, he's got his own career in advertising and stuff like that as well.
Okay, so you worked in advertising.
So we moved over. We stayed on Arminor Golf Resort for the last 6 years.
Okay.
And all that happened was my friend wanted me to get a tape of me playing so she could hear it. So we went round and we eventually tracked down Pepe Moreno, the producer. He's went, oh my God, you know what I mean? Next thing, Angel Chapena has been put in touch. I'm in there. We've done a 40-minute show without any breaks, in Spanish. And then I didn't realise that he also, in 30 years, he's become quite well known in Spain. He's went, I'm going to put the thing in the paper. Now, I thought he's talking about, it was just the Verdad, the local Murcia paper. And it turned out it went out in every single one of Prensa España's newspapers 2 years ago.
Wow.
Full-page spread, 23 million people reading the story like the week before Christmas. And after that, it's just every time I think it's dying a death,
Yeah.
it keeps escalating. Like, I mean, earlier today, I was speaking to documentary makers and producers. I've got a whole week of speaking to them. I'm doing speaking to someone for the BBC tomorrow. I've got other producers and things like that for doing a documentary or a film as well. That's all in the pipeline. I will be coming back locally. They asked me to play at the prison again in February, but that's a bit too soon to get things organised. So we're potentially looking at coming back and doing like a concert in Murcia at the prison in September.
Fantastic. Well, when you come in September, you must come in person on my show.
I will hopefully be back sooner than that.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit cold in Glasgow. It was snowing on Saturday. So, I'm a Spanish resident now, believe it or not. So Spain is my home.
So from prison inmate to Spanish resident.
I know, it's quite a difference, isn't it?
It certainly is.
When they granted me the residency and I went down to give my fingerprints, I was like that to the guy that took me down. See, Dan, hitting here longer than 5 minutes, don't wait, I might just be a wind-up. Because somebody had to jinx it for me. They said, did you ever pay that money? And I went, no. See, that might be why you want me down.
So you didn't pay your fine, you didn't pay your 65 million, was it pesetas? It must have been.
The choice of doing... Here's a story. Now, I wouldn't have been able to tell this because it sounds like I'm making this up, but it's in 23 million newspapers. They did a fact check. When I went to court and they hit me with that, obviously I'd learned Spanish by then, and the judges went like, well, you've got the choice, you can do 65 million or do an extra 6 months. I have turned around in front of the judge, idiot that I am, and said, I'll tell you what, I'll do an extra year and you give me 65 million.
So you
Which
were
very funny.
Yeah, you were really pushing your luck, weren't you?
Yeah, it was very funny at the time. Everybody's laughing in the court.
Yeah.
I went into the holding cells, and the guys that were manning the holding cells explained exactly how funny they thought I was. Then I've had to go like back in the armed, van with like 3 or 4 guards who they explained how funny it was as well. And when I arrived at the prison, they've told me how funny they thought it was, so I could barely stand by the time we get back.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't learn, do you? You know what I mean?
Well, you don't, do you?
No, it's definitely not.
So where we are at now, is that there is renewed interest in something that happened, 30 years ago.
I'm a bit grounded because it sounds like really fantastic.
Ooh.
Because I'm doing like all these podcasts, like you mentioned, things like Terry Stone. I'm booked in to do Terry Stone.
Fantastic, yeah.
Silver Bullets there. I've done Sean Atwood. All these podcasters, and they're interested in the crime thing, obviously. That's what sells, that's what gets their advertisers in. However, fortunately, there are a lot of people as well that are interested in the music and keep saying that the music is good. I've been so fortunate. I'm sitting in Barhead one week and a guy who's a BAFTA award-winning director messages me and says, I like your music, do you fancy getting out doing a music video?
Wow.
The music video was cost fortunes. I can't afford that. And there's a guy that's, I know his brother and I knew him, and he's just come out and said, well, I'll do it for you, it'll be great. So I got a music video filmed in my hometown of Barhead that's over the song Runaway, which we recorded in the Spanish jail live in 1991.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's incredible. Now, listen, Alan, we run out of time, and it's brilliant talking to you. I really want to hear the next step. So, obviously, when you're coming over to Spain, please keep in touch with me, and we'll set up an interview in the studio, and we will talk the next step. What has happened since?
And hopefully, the thing things that I'm talking about are maybes. Hopefully, I'll be able to give you dates and times and what's happening, in terms of the future. And obviously, give you even playing the prison. You wouldn't believe who I've got offered to play as the backing bands and things like that. The musicians that have came forward. You know what I mean? It's incredible.
Like who?
It's not talk at the moment. Once it's concrete, I will certainly be on the flight over.
Okay, all right, that's cool. That is really cool. Thank you so much, Allan, for...
One last thing, if anybody's interested in listening to the music, if they either put in my name, allanmccarthy.com, or berlin90.com, that's the website, and they can download the music for free and listen to that and see all the newspaper reports. See, I'm not talking rubbish, it is all what they're documented, if anybody's a bit curious.
Absolutely.
Fantastic talking to you.
You too. Well, earlier on today, I played Stormy Waters, so to say goodbye to you and to thank you so much for spending time with us, I'm going to play Runaway, which is another of Berlin 90s hits. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Allan. Take care, and we shall see you in Murcia. Yeah. See you soon. Bye. Bye.
Well, I've been crazy too long. It's time to stop. Find myself, find out where I'm going. Things have changed. Now I finally see the light. Don't know what I've been hiding from. Don't know where I've been going wrong. All I know is it's time to pack my bags. When everything gets too much for me to stand, I just leave it all behind and head out for that promised land. And I just run away. Run away. Run away tonight. Little girl, who are you waiting for? Just in your eyes, standing by the door. Romeo, he ain't coming round tonight. Mama's crying, how she drives you wild. Papa's yelling, you're only still a child. But you know, well, it's time to find a light. When everything gets too much, you got a choice. Listen to that voice inside your head that's telling